That all leaders be filled with conviction and not corruption. In Jesus' name, amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Section A, approval of minutes. Number one, motion to accept the minutes of the January 10th, 2017 regular session deferred from 1/24/17. Mr. Bourgeois, can we get second by Mr. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 8-0. Item number two, motion to accept the minutes of the January 24, 2017 regular session. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois. Second by Mr. Esposito. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1.
Mr. Chairman, I move to defer the minutes from February 2nd, 2017 to the March 14th meeting.
All right. Let's vote on deferring the minutes till March 14th. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Moving right along, Section B, proclamations. Item number 4, proclamation proclaiming February 17, 2017 as Coach O Day. It was brought up by Mr. Lafourche. Ms. Carlene, are you going to read it?
Yes, sir. Proclamation, Parish of Lafourche, whereas the Lafourche Parish Council wishes to proclaim February 17, 2017 as Coach O Day, and whereas Lafourche Parish prides itself in its native sons and daughters who achieve positive notoriety and success in their chosen careers here at home or across the nation, and whereas Ed Baba Ogeron has distinguished himself as an outstanding athlete, achieving all state honors. Bebe. Let me start that again then. Whereas Ed Bebe Ogeron has distinguished himself as an outstanding athlete, achieving all state honors as a member of the 1977 South Lafourche High School State Championship football team, being named to the All-Louisiana team as a defensive lineman, received the prestigious Joe Delaney Leadership Award, and was inducted into the NSU Hall of Fame while at Northwestern State University in Natchitoches, Louisiana. And whereas Ed Bebe Ogeron, as a college and professional football coach, has favorably influenced and improved the lives and careers of athletes for 28 years in various coaching capacities with more than 10 colleges and universities across this country. He has been named National College Football Recruiter of the Year by ESPN and continues to be one of the top coaches and recruiting specialists in all of college football. And whereas Ed Bebe Ogeron, now affectionately called Coach O, has achieved his ultimate coaching goal by being named the new head coach of the Louisiana State University football team and carries the hopes and dreams of LSU Tiger football fans around the world. On behalf of the Lafourche Parish Council, we do hereby set our signatures and have caused to be affixed the official seal of the Lafourche Parish Council, State of Louisiana, on this 14th day of February 2017, Matthews, Louisiana.
Stand. All right, thank you. Item 5,
I thought he did too.
Councilman Jerry Jones to present proclamations honoring the crew of Shaka. Councilman Jones, are you going to read it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
State of Louisiana, Parish of Lafourche proclamation, whereas Mardi Gras is an important annual cultural event in Lafourche Parish, and whereas residents of Lafourche Parish enthusiastically take part in the yearly celebration and fully immerse themselves in the rich traditions of the season, and whereas the Lafourche Parish Mardi Gras community is made up of several crews, and whereas Shaka is one of the most respected crews in Lafourche Parish. Now, therefore, I, Jerry Jones, council member of the Lafourche Parish Council, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, on behalf of the Lafourche Parish Council, hereby recognize Irvin Richard IV as King of Shaka in Lafourche Parish and offer our heartfelt congratulations for having achieved this great honor. In witness thereof, we, the Lafourche Parish Council, do hereby set our signatures and have caused to be affixed the official seal of the Lafourche Parish Council, State of Louisiana, on this 14th day of February 2017. Have two more, Mr. Chairman. State of Louisiana Parish of Lafourche Proclamation, whereas Mardi Gras is an important annual cultural event in Lafourche Parish, and whereas residents of Lafourche Parish enthusiastically take part in the yearly celebration and fully immerse themselves in the rich traditions of the season, and whereas the Lafourche Parish Mardi Gras community is made up of several crews, and whereas Shaka is one of the most respected crews in Lafourche Parish. Now therefore I, Jerry Jones, council member of the Lafourche Parish Council, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, on behalf of the Lafourche Parish Council, do hereby recognize Amanda Edwards Gabriel as Queen of Shaka in Lafourche Parish and offer our heartfelt congratulations for having achieved this great honor. In witness thereof, we, the Lafourche Parish Council, do hereby set our signatures and have caused to be affixed the official seal of the Lafourche Parish Council, State of Louisiana, on this 14th day of February 2017. And my third one, State of Louisiana Parish of Lafourche Proclamation, whereas Mardi Gras is an important annual cultural event in Lafourche Parish, and whereas residents of Lafourche Parish enthusiastically take part in the yearly celebration and fully immerse themselves in the rich traditions of the season, and whereas the Lafourche Parish Mardi Gras community is made up of several crews, and whereas Shaka is one of the most respected crews in Lafourche Parish. Now therefore I, Jerry Jones, council member of the Lafourche Parish Council, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, on behalf of the Lafourche Parish Council, do hereby recognize Veronica M. Johnson as Grand Marshal of Shaka in Lafourche Parish and offer our heartfelt congratulations for having achieved this great honor. In witness thereof, we, the Lafourche Parish Council, do hereby set our signatures and have caused to be affixed the official seal of the Lafourche Parish Council, State of Louisiana, on this 14th day of February 2017.
For Shaka. Good. All right, next item on the agenda is Parish President Jimmy Cantrell to present proclamation proclaiming February 17, 2017 as Coach O Day. Mr. President?
Mr. Jimmy, I'll read it on your behalf. The parish president would like to proclaim February 17th, 2017 as Coach O Day. He will be attending the Coach O Day banquet where members of the South Lafourche community will gather together to organize and honor Coach O's achievements. They will also celebrate the 40th anniversary of the 1977 state championship Tarpon football team on which Coach O played. The event will be held from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the LaRose Civic Center Pavilion on 307 East 5th Street in LaRose. There will be a dinner served. There will also be entertainment and guest speakers hosted by NFL analyst Mike Detillier as the master of ceremonies. So the parish president does encourage everyone to please attend and support Coach O.
Thank you.
Angel Vizier here. Hi, you can come up. There is one WOW recipient for January. Miss Angel Vizier is a clerk for the health unit in Galliano. There was a comment and a nomination sent in, and I'll read it as such. Angel is very knowledgeable of her job and gives 110% to her work. She does an outstanding job in her duties. She's very dependable, efficient, and hardworking. In addition, Angel always has a positive attitude. Congratulations. And is Miss Mary Cortez here? Hi, Miss Mary. Miss Mary has been with the Head Start program for 21 years. She's a center director for Head Start in Thibodaux. Miss Mary is our Employee of the Month recipient, and I'll read a few things about Miss Mary. Miss Mary has been with Head Start for over 20 years now. She has gone above and beyond. Recently, she was promoted to center director. On top of finishing her duties as a teacher, she has been doing the center director job in conjunction. As hard as it is, she has done an outstanding job at tackling both. She is an amazing teacher. All of her students and coworkers love her, and it's truly a pleasure to know her. She's an outstanding employee and ambassador for Lafourche Parish. She has a strong work ethic, positive attitude, organizational abilities, and is detailed. Parents praise her work as a teacher, and now teachers praise her work as the new center director for 3 Thibodaux sites. In January, Miss Mary became a Class Reliable Observer, and we are very proud of her achievements.
Congratulations. All right, moving on to the next item, number 9, Mr. Dirk Barrios, General Manager, Lafourche Parish Water District Number 1, to present an annual report. Welcome, Mr. Barrios. Is it on?
It's not on, Dirk. Hit the little chit-chit.
Okay, there it is. Better?
There we go.
All right. My name is Dirk Barrios. Reside at 152 East 43rd Street, Cutoff, Louisiana. And I'm the General Manager of the Lafourche Parish Water District. I gave you all each a copy of our annual report. I'm just going to go over, get a few highlights. If you have any questions, just please ask. On the jobs and water lines that we've completed to date for this last year, we have about 38,700 feet of new water lines installed at a cost of approximately $2,419,000. And other projects that we did, water line, fire hydrant installations and recoating of the roof at our office and other jobs, about $592,000. So a total cost of completed jobs last year for $3,011,918.53. On water lines and projects that are under construction from January 1st carrying through the end of the year that we have on the books right now, currently have about 14,300 feet of water lines under construction at a bid price of about $999,000, and other projects including roof replacement, tank improvements, and what have you, about $781,000 for a total cost of approximately $1,780,385. And on the design portion, we have about 17,913 feet of water lines that are under design right now with the engineers at an estimated cost of about $1,580,000. And other projects, we are looking to expand in the near future of North Plant, new surge tank improvements and what have you, for $8,975,000 for a total cost of approximately $10,555,000. We also purchased 2 tracts of land just adjacent to the plant site in Thibodaux, and one was for like $290,000 and one was for $102,000, about 29 acres or so. That's quick. If y'all have any questions, I mean.
Any questions for Mr. Barrios?
I got a question.
Mr. Lorraine?
You always have a
The
question.
biggest consumption of water is probably Port Fourchon, right?
Biggest?
That uses the most.
Well, in a percentage-wise, yeah, on a customer, per customer basis, yes, it is.
Okay, so with the economy being in a slump the last couple of years, how much of approximately a decrease you had in what you used to send compared to what you send today?
We were averaging about 1.8 to 2 million gallons a day that we were selling at Fourchon on a normal day, and we're probably down to 1.3.
How
And
much?
It's been 1.3.
1.3?
Yeah, we lost approximately couple $100,000 in revenue.
How much?
Probably $150,000 to $200,000 of revenue a month.
I just wanted to make a little comparison because I knew it had to go down. Maybe that's why I got more water pressure at my house.
Well, I don't believe we're not running as hard. We don't have to run as hard. The system is has been fixed, especially on the southern end, to accommodate the high volume usage, and so.
But-
What we're seeing is we're just not seeing a whole. What you will see is you're seeing us wasting a lot of water. Because
Right.
We have to maintain a certain residual in our system.
And I also see a lot of streets that y'all are putting the water line up to, what is it, 8 inches, 6 inches?
8 inch.
8 inches with fire hydrants. That has increased a lot over the last few years. But if the economy doesn't pick up, it might decrease.
It had increased, but I'll be honest with you, this last couple of years we have money put aside, but we kind of sitting on the projects before we give them to the engineers, because we don't know what the future's gonna hold. And, you know, you don't wanna have to, you have bond indebtedness you have to pay. So we kinda holding on to it. We're gonna let some of the projects go, hopefully, but we're being very conservative with what we're spending right now. So
Thank you very much.
You're gonna see, if you look at last year's and look at this year's, you might start noticing a slight drop-off if things don't improve as far as what we're spending to make improvements.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I have a question on the administrative side of what you guys do at the water plant. I get a water bill every month in my house like everybody else's. I pay a separate fee to a sewage treatment company that has my subdivision. I've been made aware of like at least 3 subdivisions that I think you guys have an agreement with that y'all collect the fees
Yeah.
for those
This
sewage
was
treatment
something-
companies?
This was something that the state passed a few years back to accommodate the, this is only what I've been told or what I've heard. It's easier for us to go shut off somebody's water and less health hazard than it is for the sewer to go and disconnect sewage. I mean, we just go pull out a meter and turn off a valve. Whereas if you have a sewer and you're not paying your sewer bill, the only way they can disconnect you is they disconnect the sewage, and that's a health hazard.
Right.
So if you don't
And
have
the
water,
reason I'm bringing it up is because there's certain residents that aren't happy with the service they're receiving from those sewage companies.
yeah, but we're not in the sewer business.
I understand that, but y'all
Strictly-
collect for them,
We
right?
collect for them, yeah.
So if a resident says, look, my toilet keeps backing up every time it rains, I'm sick of this, I don't want to pay this company until they fix these pipes, what can they do? Because if they don't pay the whole bill, y'all can cut their water off, right?
Yeah, that's state law. I can only say they can make a complaint to the Public Service Commission or whoever has control over the sewer systems.
Okay.
I mean,
All right,
that's,
because
you
yeah,
know,
I wanted to get that out there
I mean,
because the
and I can,
residents are
you know,
looking at
if-
me to
if you
do
wanna-
something
If you
for
want to
them.
call me, I can check for you.
Okay.
Call me tomorrow, call me the next day, I'll
Because some of
talk
them ask me, can I just
Yeah.
pay the water portion and withhold this until
Well, that's
she
why,
makes it,
that's
or the
probably why they
company makes it
contacted
good?
us. This was something that they were having issues years and years ago. And it's been a while that we've been collecting bills for any sewer system that asks. And that's all we are. We're strictly
Administrative processing of payment.
processing. And I guess they see that, well, you know, I don't have to pay it when he strictly was dealing with the sewer company, because you have a legitimate gripe. But the other way around, you don't, you kind of stuck, you know, like you said.
From what I understand, it would wake the company up and they go make the repairs or whatever so they can get the cash flow coming back in.
There still has to be a way that you can get through to them. I don't know if it's through the public service. I mean, we don't deal with the sewer companies directly other than through this
Okay.
issue. But I'm sure I can find out. I can call some of the sewer districts that I know people that
Okay.
work for. And
I'll call you.
Yeah, I'll get you some
Okay,
information.
we'll do
We'll
that.
do what we can to help.
I appreciate it.
All right. Any other questions?
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Section D, engineers and architect reports.
Dustin Rabelais representing T. Baker Smith, 1100 South Acadia Road, Thibodaux. I just have one project to update y'all on. West side drainage improvements will be advertising at the end of this month or the very beginning of March. I just have one little landowner issue. I want to speak to that landowner again, and then also logistically, I just want to walk through the project with St. Genevieve Church one last time, because it will inconvenience the church. But we do have a schedule. We're on that schedule. Construction has to be done during the summer so that we don't mess with the school traffic. But we're gonna slide right on in there. That's all I have.
Any questions? You're off the hook, man. Thank you. Any other engineers? Architects? Section E, parish president, department heads, directors, or managers, reports, presentations, or updates.
Mr. Chairman, I have a report, and I will ask Ms. Caroline to read it for me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I'm reading a president's report on behalf of Parish President James Cantrell. Good evening and a blessed St. Valentine's Day to you, the council members, and the people throughout Lafourche Parish. I first want to ensure that the administration is working diligently to bring several public works projects to fruition, and more announcements will be forthcoming. It is with great pleasure that I inform you that I am currently in discussions with vendors to bring real-time finances of Lafourche Parish government to the council and to all the people of Lafourche Parish. To bring complete transparency with regard to finances of the people's local government dollars. That will be a campaign pledge brought to fruition. Simply put, you will have the ability to go online and view unaudited income, revenue, and expenses year to date. No longer will you need to wait until months pass to determine how your money is spent or request financial data. The parish finances will be at your fingertips. We are currently in the discussion phase of this project. I want to commend the District Attorney's Office once again for rendering his opinion about the appointment of interim personnel to serve the people of Lafourche Parish. I humbly want to request of you, the council, to consider these individuals moving forward, as they are not only well qualified and experienced, but they are also residents of the parish, helping to contribute to the advancement of our mission in Lafourche. Finally, as you are aware, the Permits Office has been a point of discussion in parish government for years for the people that we serve. I'm advancing an agenda that will provide for a liaison between the current businesses of Lafourche and potential businesses desiring to locate to help with permit expediting processes. The permit process cannot be a deterrent or a hinder to any businesses coming to Lafourche, and no job should be lost due to obtaining a parish building permit. In conjunction with the new liaison position between business and government, this individual also acts as an advocate for residents who are experiencing problems with obtaining permits. The administration is in discussions to bring a complete online building permit application process from start to finish. The goal is to give residents the ability to obtain permits from their living room. We are developing a survey that we would also like to implement so that once a permit is obtained, the surveys will help the administration with improving processes. Members of the council, thank you for your time and consideration, and once again, I want to express my desire to work closely with you regarding problems in any and all of your respective council districts.
Thank you very much.
Got a question, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, Mr. President, I wonder how much of that is true.
All right, we're moving right along. All right, Section F, questions for the administration. Light them up if you have them. Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I've been trying to get this bill paid for over a year. I think we made some headway. We were supposed to get it paid. It should have been on this agenda, but unfortunately it's not. That's that levee repair at Yankee Canal for South Lafourche Levee District. And I met with Reggie and Jimmy and whoever I had to meet with at the time. And Wendell did his job. He sent Reggie a copy and he sent me a copy for the administration. And I thought it would be on the agenda, but unfortunately it's not. It was supposed to be $190,000. But after it was all said and done, it's $164,610.16. And I'm just waiting to hopefully the next meeting that we can pay these people. Something that was done, it was approved by the district attorney to pay them. So I kindly ask that at the next meeting that we get it on the agenda and we pay them. The good thing about it is once we pay it, South Lafourche Levee District takes over. They maintain it, they cut the grass, they do whatever needs to be done. The job that I saw that was done, they ain't got to touch it for 20 years. 20 years, they ain't going to touch it. They're just gonna maintain it, cut the grass. So I would appreciate if y'all would look into this, and let's get it on the next agenda. And I hope I don't have to ask another time, because I'm running out of times. Thank you.
Okay. I have something to bring up, and, you know, just a question for the administration. We've been reading about the new gas plant that they evidently going to build at Fouchon, and it's been brought to my attention that the company that's making that investment of almost $900 million would like to pursue some tax benefits as far as bringing that business into the parish. Do you guys think that we can, or you put up a committee or something to study the feasibility of maybe giving tax breaks to companies that move in, new companies, new development in the parish? That way we can hopefully bring in more of the like after the fact. Give them some incentive to come in. If they're going to invest $900 million, why not give them a tax break? You know, it makes sense to me.
It does, Corey, and I tell you what, we will entertain that, and I guarantee you we'll be working on it. Thank you.
Okay, and just one more, that kind of segues into the next point, which is tax breaks for existing businesses. If we can give some of these folks some relief that's been suffering through this downturn, that would also be a great gesture, I think, to our corporate citizens. So, anyway. Anyone else? This is an easy one tonight. Daniel?
Yes, I did have the opportunity to meet with the executive director of the port, and I'm sure some others may have met. And that's what I was trying to tell y'all at the last meeting, that we need to come together to get the port, the sheriff, the school board, the parish, the assessor, together at a round table to see what we can do. The taxes are way too high, and I got a proposal up, but there's a difference between a sales tax and a property tax. Anybody that comes to that mic and gives us a report, and you ask them if you can cut their millages, and they're gonna tell you no. I've yet to find one. Very few have cut millages over the years that I've been here, and one was the library, and one was the Thibodeau Hospital. They got rid of it. And we did solid waste, which now we're in a little trouble. And I did, well, I brought it up, road sales tax too, went from a penny to a half. But anybody that comes to that mic, you ask them, well, can you cut a mill or two? Oh, they're gonna have a fit. It's not gonna happen. So that's what I've been trying to let you know, that we need to get that whole group together and see if we could do something. There's possibly that we might not be able to do nothing, and possibly we might be able to do something. I don't know what the answer is, but we ain't gonna get it by bickering and dogging each other. Let's just get together and get it done, and call a meeting, whatever you want to do. But I can tell you, the port is the one that initiated this, but they need the help of everybody else. And it would benefit everybody.
All right, Section G. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Grove.
Just to kind of go along with what Daniel said, I know that our assessor made a strong push last year, went to every tax and districts meetings about rolling back millages. So I'd like to know, you know, I need to ask her, maybe we can report back what actually happened or who kind of jumped on board, because I know a lot of people were approached and asked to.
Thank you. All right, Section G, council reports, presentations, updates, and our questions. Session 1, anyone? Moving right along.
I got a question.
Mr. Jones.
For Public Works, Mr. Bourne, we talked the other day about that section on that Euclid ditch. Did we ever come up with an answer on that?
On the section that's been let already?
The section the bid that we got, the whole ditch was supposed to be completed.
Correct.
I was on the job, I stopped out there Monday, and about 50 to 60 feet is not being touched.
Correct. I'm working on that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes,
Ms. Esposito.
Yeah, I just wanted to get y'all input on something. Last week or so, a business owner from DeSalmans called me up. He owns a convenience store, and he opposed an ordinance that we have that says if you operate a business and it's open from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., that you have to have 2 employees, or you have to have the bar set up so that they can, I guess, sell things through a window or something. And he felt like it was inappropriate for government to regulate private business. And so Ms. Pat did some research for us to check surrounding parishes to see what they did, and only Terrebonne has a similar, the exact same ordinance. And I just wanted to get your input on, I'm not sure what happened, maybe Mr. Daniel can remember why that was done back when it was done, but just to get y'all opinion on if you think it's, the business owner thinks it's unfair and that we shouldn't be regulating how he operates his business, but I wanted to just see what you all thought.
It sounds like it was probably a safety concern.
You talking about the time savers?
Yeah.
Right, it was a safety issue, and they felt it was better if you didn't have that glass or to have 2 people in there. And I'm sure before it was passed, it was all researched by who needed to do it. And we did it. And I think I've never really heard anybody complain, but I mean, there's always somebody that's going to complain. And you were the lucky one to get the complaint.
Right, and,
But,
you know,
I see what you're saying, and I could understand the business owner saying that, you know, you're trying to, government gets involved with a lot of stuff. Sometimes they get involved with too much stuff. But it was done legally, and it was done, like Corey said, Mr. Chairman, it was done for the safety of the residents.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'd be willing to discuss to get, I mean, I'm all for small government. If we can get government out of people's business and lives, that's
I mean, Terrebonne
great.
Parish does the same thing, and I asked him, he said he felt like he had some safety, and I said the same thing, that it was for safety reasons, obviously. He said he had some safety issues. He was connected to a casino. He said they had a police officer or security in the casino. I asked him if the buildings were connected. He said no, but he had a panic button. I said, does the police officer from the casino get there? Is he the one called? He said, no, it's 911, it's the sheriff's office. And then he said he had a camera. I said, well, that's after the fact, and finding the criminal what protects the employee. He said all of that is irrelevant because it's government's involved in business, and why should government tell me how I should staff my store? So he had a point, and I understand it's for safety issues. I wouldn't want to work alone at those hours, but I don't know if, like I said, Terrebonne does it. This other parishes that surround us do not. And from the answers Ms. Pat got, I think it kind of surprised them that they were asked such a thing. So I'm not proposing anything yet. I guess I just wanted to hear your input and saying what you all thought, and would you consider changing that?
Well,
Or think it
if you
should be changed?
want to relook at it and you need to make some amendments or you want to make some changes, that's your choice. If you can get the council to go with it, that's your
No, I just wanted it to be
business.
discussed right now. I'm not
But
sure
I
I
mean,
even want
we
it.
can go on down the road, the 2 o'clock law for drinking. That was basically interfering with, but that saved a bunch of lives, I can tell you that.
The 2 o'clock law is different, I think. I mean, look, criminals these days don't wait till 10 o'clock to start
Mr.
robbing.
Grow.
They don't wait till 10 o'clock to start robbing people. I mean, they're not gonna wait and say, okay, well, they got 2 people there now, whatever. It doesn't matter.
So-
They're committing crimes in the middle of the day. If it can be looked at to help business owners, let's do it, you know?
Let the record show Councilman Lafont, he entered the meeting at 5:34 p.m. Thank you for coming. Mr. Bourgeois.
Yeah, this is on a different subject, but I believe Miss Mary Patricia's got a report she needs to give the council.
Is she on the agenda?
Well, no, but I mean, it's
council presentations and reports, and I believe she's got a report to give the council.
Okay. Ms. Esposito, you still have
No.
any thoughts? Okay. All right. You ready?
So I'm Mary Patricia Ray, 328 East Drive, Baton Rouge, 70806. And first want to update you all very briefly on the special legislative session that started yesterday, last evening. We're in day 2 of 10 of the special session, hoping the administration is hoping to tap the rainy day fund to the tune of $119 million to close a $304 million budget shortfall for the current fiscal year ending in July. And the last time I was here, the call for the special session had not been issued. I told you at that time that it was believed it would be a cuts-only strategy so that there would not be anything on the agenda that would directly affect a local government revenue stream. That is the case. At this time, there's nothing on the agenda that would impact revenue to local government. So I'll keep you all updated on how that goes. The impact to you is ancillary in that the goodwill used up in this special session will make things harder in the regular legislative session, and without some long-term budget fixes, our ability to do things like bond capital outlay dollars decreases and the like. So people get more creative the more desperate they get, and the more desperate they get, the more sources of local revenue people are willing to consider cutting, which could occur in the regular legislative session. I spent the end of last week in Washington, D.C. with many members of your legislative delegation for the D.C. Mardi Gras, joining some of them in visits with members of Congress about issues of local import, including some levy district issues, and had a very productive trip. Good time spent with Mr. Zering specifically. And I've also submitted to you a report that I hope will begin to answer some of the questions raised at the last meeting and hopefully begin a more open dialogue between me and you. I want to make sure you all know, as I stated the last time I was here and the time before, that my contract is with the consolidated government and I work for you. I should be hopefully seen as a resource to you going forward, and I hope that we can work towards making that more of a reality.
Any questions?
Oh, I
Ms.
do.
Esposito?
On your report that you sent us, I believe I'm not sure which page it is, and it's not uploading on my computer, so excuse me to find it. You mentioned that that you and Mr. Cantrell went to, you said at the Division of Administration, we met with agency staff, including facility planning and contractual review staff, to discuss ongoing state-funded projects and the outlook for new projects. And what did they say? Can you tell us what was the outlook?
Sure. And so just to clarify, I have several meetings throughout the year with folks like Mr. Mark Moses in facility planning. So these are ongoing conversations. And, they gave me the same information that I report to you, which is to talk about the amount of bonding capacity that they're going to have. We talked to them about how much they foresee being done each month at the bond commission, so we can start to get a better idea of when a project's in priority 1, how long it might take to get through the bond commission. But those aren't people who are making the political decisions about which projects will appear. So those kinds of discussions are the ones happening in the governor's office.
Okay, you just mentioned it, so I was wondering what they had to say that we didn't know.
Sure.
So.
Well, making them aware of things like whether a project has been bringing to their attention, whether a project is currently under a cooperative endeavor agreement, why a certain project that might not look that important is important. Those kinds of things are important to do on an ongoing basis.
But ultimately, they don't get to make that decision anyway.
So the technical answer is yes, although the political answer is no. Mr. Moses at the Office of Facility Planning, as you know, is the one who actually makes the recommendations to Rev and Fisk and to the Ways and Means Committee in terms of, and to the Bond Commission on a monthly basis. They actually come from his office. So it's best to kind of make sure that the discussions that folks like Senator Shawbear and Representative Zering and I have when we go to the governor's office get echoed to the division, and we make sure that everybody isn't playing a game, that all the information is getting relayed, and that a commitment to do certain things that may or may not have been made to us in the governor's office gets translated correctly to the administrative side of things. Because hearing from, for instance, the chief of staff that they're committed to funding something next year might not make its way over to the division unless we make sure it does.
But that's not, the division talking with them, that's not making it get to them, though, is not.
Yeah, it is, because we're going to them and saying, when you meet with Ben Nevers next week, when you meet with the chief of staff next week, make sure you ask him about X, Y, and Z, because he told us when we met with him that he hoped it could be a priority for next year. I would like to keep that on your radar.
Okay.
And then when he goes to meet, hopefully that same information is echoed to him.
On this, also on your report, you said working with your legislative delegation, we were able to prioritize more than $175 million in capital outlay projects inside House Bill 2. That's about double the amount in the bill for Terrebonne Parish last year. That's Lafourche as a whole, right?
That's every project that has an impact in Lafourche Parish. And
Okay,
the chart,
so what was secured for Lafourche Parish government? That affects
the chart
my
that
budget,
explains not only what was for Lafourche Parish government, but what was for everybody
I can't
else.
pull it up on my phone, that's why I'm having an issue with it.
Okay, well, it's attached to the back of
Do
the
you have
report.
a total that you can tell us?
I mean, you can add the columns. The Lafourche Parish government projects, they're all listed under 50J29 in the middle of the chart. I see 79.3, and
Mary Patricia, the reason why I ask is when some information gets sent to us, people watching, people in the audience, people watching, they don't have any of this. So they don't get the information. It doesn't, I mean, we could ask that it be included in the minutes, but anyone that watches on TV has no idea. So when I ask you how much specifically have you helped to secure to come specifically to Lafourche Parish that's under our jurisdiction, Lafourche Parish government, someone at home could look at it and say, oh, wow, she got 16 million for Lafourche Parish government that's going to be on my streets. And I understand it's important what Nichols is doing, but I want specific information in the future, if you could, saying what it is that you're actually able to accomplish for us. And not that I don't care about Nichols, but I can talk to Nichols reps all day as to the work that they're literally, when you add 175 million, the work we did, I mean, there's a lot of people from levy districts to drainage districts that are working really hard to secure their capital outlay funds. So I don't want, you know, to me, it's not even necessary to take credit for another person's work, but I just really want to know what's being secured for us. And if you want to include all of that, I'd just like that separate number. So
I will absolutely break it out for you. As a reminder to the folks on the council who are not as familiar with the capital outlay process as you are, I'm able to secure for this submitting entity, the consolidated government, what they submit.
We're not a consolidated government. I keep wanting to correct you with that.
I apologize. For your government, what you submit. So I guess I'll make sure that I break that out in the future. I do really, really want to encourage this council to do what I see other parishes do that are very, very successful in obtaining capital outlay dollars, and that is to work with the other submitting entities, which is why I want to make sure that I provided you with this list, to meet with, as I do, with the legislative delegation and together, and to talk to them about what are the total priorities for the parish, so that if, for instance, you've got one submitting entity like Nichols that has many, 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 many millions of dollars they're asking for, sometimes the political ramifications of that are people think, well, Lafourche Parish is already getting X amount of dollars for Nichols. and it becomes a little bit more difficult. And I think not on purpose, but it tends to happen that different submitting entities inside the parish get looked at as competing with each other. And I think that some parishes that have had a long-term bit of success have figured out how to layer their applications in a way that really communicates to their legislators. So not just filling out the applications for this entity and saying, this is our first priority, this is our second priority, but communicating to the legislative delegation as a group, these are our priorities, so that they can try to get more of them done. The other, and I will make sure that I break this amount out, but the other reason why the $175 million is very important to note is that you have more in the bill last year than many, many other parishes did. And so what that means is you have, as a whole parish, you have more projects.
And what do you attribute that to? Why? Why did we get more?
Well, you have some major submitting entities, and you also have a regional multi-parish effort that goes on, where you'll see a few of these are multi-parish projects that happen to include you. So you have an aggressive program going on of submitters, different submitting entities, plus some of those bigger regional projects going on, which is great because we have an administration that's been committed to being investing in coastal restoration and flood protection. So that's a good thing. You know, it's a team effort to get all these things in the bill. This is still only a portion of everything that was submitted by all these submitters.
Right.
But the reason why it's good is that your projects were in the bill last year. So they're already, if they're resubmitted, they're already a step ahead of someone who has not started that process yet in a year where we know that the bonding capacity is going to go down. And so the willingness to put new projects in the bill, completely new projects, is not necessarily a willingness, but it's just not, numbers-wise, it's not as possible as it has been in years past. So all of this is the silver lining, especially when you look at some other parishes that as a whole, not just the government, but as a whole, don't have as many projects in line as you all do. This is a grab for cash. Your taxpayers send it away, and you want to get it back, obviously, in the highest priority level that you can for projects that mean the most to them. You want to make sure that it's spread out evenly, but ultimately you want to get it. And so this provides you with the biggest buffet for legislators and for the governor's office to choose from to make sure that the money is coming back here.
Okay. You write here as well, working with Reps Sarang, McGee, Gisclair, Richard, and Amity, as well as Senators Allen and such and such and such. I know your report was trying to show us all that you do. Can you give me an example of like how you've worked with Richard or Amity? What have you done to work with them? Like,
sure.
What's a typical day for you while we're in session?
A typical day for me, we could be here a lot, but so I'll stick to your legislative delegation.
Condensed version.
Let's take Representative Amity. Early in the first special session of last year, I took her out to dinner with a couple of other legislators, and we sat and talked about this chart, for instance. We also took with us some information from the assessor's office to educate her about the offshore vessel tax credit, which was a major issue at the time, and to make sure she understood the differences between how that was set up versus the inventory tax credit, to make sure that she felt she had enough information that if she had to defend the current structure or oppose a bill, that she could do it and do it effectively. So my role in terms of working with them is to put tools under their hand. Someone like Senator Allen, who sits on an important money committee, or Senator Schauber, much of what I do with them is helping to draft amendments to things like House Bill 1 and House Bill 2 that will prioritize what they want here in the district, in their own districts, which whether they're in Lafourche or not, if I'm helping a member of your legislative delegation, I'm helping you, I'm helping the region. So if they ask me for help, they know that I'm a good drafter. Sometimes they want to do things on the sly and not bring it up till the last minute. Different members will ask me to tick their bills for them. So again, outside the scope of my services to you, but complementary and ancillary, if Representative McGee has a bill on the floor and he comes to me and says, I really need to know where the rural caucus is on my bill, then I will go to the Royal Caucus lunch and I will take his bill for him, and then I'll go to him and say, I really appreciate all your help. I know you appreciate mine, so I need to make sure that when you meet with the governor next week, you're asking him for whatever you can get for Lafourche Parish, for instance. So that's kind of an example of a senator and a House member. And I'm happy to expand more if you need me to.
No, I just wanted to.
I speak with each of them almost every single day
So
during
every
the
one of
session.
them, every
Almost-
one of Lafourche Parish representatives. you're
Almost
speaking
every
with.
one of them. And I wasn't even at the legislature today, although they are, because I'm here and I spoke
So
with
if
four
all
of
of
them.
us contacted our delegation, they would say, she's in my face all the time.
Well, I hope they wouldn't say that. That sounds a
Well,
little
I mean, they
aggressive.
would say that
But
you were-
I encourage you, and I left a voicemail for another member today who I think was checking up on me, that
Yeah,
I'm happy.
because I want to, I think that, you know, what you're saying that you do seems like something that we need, but I do think that we all need to.
I'm confident that you could call any member
Okay.
of your legislative delegation, and without prompting from me, you would receive glowing remarks. And what they would tell you is that I help to keep a team together so that they all know what's going on that affects the region and this parish and can work together.
Okay. That's my last question for her, but I do want to add something about capital outlay.
Okay,
Someone
can
else
we
come
move
up.
on to Mr. Grove?
I did, when we voted for you the first time around, I checked you out with, and I mentioned that when we voted with Dee Richard and Narvi Chabert, and they both said you definitely well respected in Baton Rouge and in the governor's ear. So I appreciate all you do. I have two quick questions. So you have handwritten on the taxing districts some percentages. I was just wondering what those reflect.
You know, I used to know what those were. These are handouts that I had from last
Yeah.
year, and this
Okay.
is actually Wendy's handwriting.
It could just be one, because 6.8, I just didn't understand.
It may
And
be,
38%?
it may be that she was calculating a portion of total parish revenues,
Okay,
because I think that that's what the
okay.
6 I believe that's what the 50.6 million adds up to, or did during, when we were debating these bills, was 38%.
Okay.
But I could be wrong, and I'm happy to check with Wendy too.
And so everything in blue was stuff that the IEB or the Interim Emergency Board took the project and moved it somewhere else. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So it was
And-
one place, and generally they moved backwards, not forwards, right?
Yes, and I almost printed out like 4 other random parish charts to bring with me to show you that basically the same percentage of everybody's chart looks blue this year. And that's because our bonding capacity was cut back twice. So they didn't want to leave. In the past, what they would do is they would just leave the project in priority 1, and everybody could feel good about it, like, oh, we're going to get our money this year. And if they didn't have the money, they just wouldn't send it to the bond commission. And for better or for worse, this governor has decided that he's not going to let people just feel good about capital outlay. And so the amount of money in priority 1, when that bill leaves the last chamber, has to match the bonding capacity or estimated bonding capacity for the year. So it's probably better, it's just more depressing.
Lucy?
The only, I'd like Stevie Smith to come up, if you could, Stevie. He's an engineer that does work for the parish a lot. He and I have talked about some projects that he submitted on behalf of the parish for capital outlay, and I've been requesting the capital outlay projects from the administration for the reason that I'm hoping, I'd mentioned last meeting that we all need to do our part in reaching out to our delegation to get these projects done. And I thought Stevie had a good take on how he can simply explain why it's so important that we're involved, in addition to Mary Patricia, whoever we hire. But Stevie?
Absolutely. So Stevie Smith, 125 Old Shreveport Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. And absolutely, Madam Councilwoman, I want to use the right term, but Ms. Pasito, the way Mary Patricia gave you a pretty good summary. I mean, there's multiple levels in this process, everybody. There's multiple levels. Before you actually have a project that is funded by capital outlay, it starts quite basic with a application that's submitted in November. But after the application is submitted, it gets to be very much a personal and subjective process where, you know, the applicant, the person submitting the application, has to make a pretty strong case to their legislator where the project is located. Your legislative delegation, you know very well if a project's in Senator Chaber's district. Someone has to make the case to Senator Chaber that this particular project deserves capital outlay funding. Hopefully, if he agrees, and I'm using Senator Chaber as an example, but it applies to any one of them, if he agrees, then as the capital outlay bill moves its way through the legislative process, Senator Chaber, through that process, asked the other legislators to support it being in priority 1 through 5. Sometimes they are successful, sometimes they're not, and there are a million reasons why they are successful and they are not. Many of them are very subjective and personal and quite bluntly political in nature. Okay, if it makes it through the bill process in the legislative session and it's in the bill when it comes out, then you have another level of you have to convince the administration and the bond commission to actually provide dollars for it if it's in the bill. But you can't get to where the bond commission and administration provide dollars for it unless you go through the first step of filing that by November, getting it in the bill through this
Stevie,
process.
I guess what I wanted you to talk about is this is why this council needs to know which projects are in capital outlay, because if you don't know what's in your district and I don't know what's in my district, then we don't know how to get involved with contacting our delegation ourselves. I guess I wanted you to bring it down to the ground floor and how we have to work with the administration and us.
Absolutely. Again, the projects that I've been associated with through capital outlay that have been successful have started with I'll just call it the applicant, but in this case, this parish government, making the case particularly directly to your legislative delegation, sometimes with a team member like Mary Patricia and sometimes not, but making the case to your legislative delegation why one of the projects that's on your list is important to your parish and or their district. Okay, and that, to be honest with you, that type of activity needs to be going on right about now, okay, because for a couple reasons. Number one is the real legislative session where those decisions are going to be made is coming up in March. This year, unfortunately, we're having a special session right now that just started. Mary Patricia gave you a report on that. The good news about being in legislative session, everybody, is that is the time where the administration and others are talking to your delegation and asking them for support or opposition on various matters. And those are great opportunities to say, I'll be happy to work with you on this particular item, but I need your help working with me on another one. And that's how it works. Okay, so again, as we've talked in the past, you know, now is a great time to be making these suggestions to your delegation so that they can have it kind of top of mind right now.
Right, so for example, if three projects are in my district, I need to get with Parish President Cantrell, see which ones are those priority. There'll probably be one,
Absolutely.
and if we had to choose, which one would we go to the delegation and say? I mean, but we all need to start out with knowing which projects are what, and do our share, our part with trying to get them funded, so.
And I would echo again, the folks that I've seen be successful have, again, speaking to the council, but obviously between the council members and the administration, making that joint case to your delegation is a winning combination is the only way to put it. That's the way to do it. So. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask Patricia something, if you don't mind. But before I ask you the question, maybe you can answer this one. It was more to him, but I'm sure you can answer it. Once you get all these projects get passed, whatever, and the governor has the final say-so, doesn't he have veto power?
There is some line item veto
Some
power
line items, he
over
can just,
House Bill 2. What I would say is that generally, if the governor's really opposed to a project beforehand, someone like the senator for that district will be told that, so there's some warning. You know, different members of your legislative delegation that may not be viewed as friendly to the administration typically have a senator who is, and so that has in the past helped protect
right.
what they have.
I know exactly what you're saying, but he does have final say-so in most cases, and it all gets down to the political arena. But my question now is on the vessel tax, where are we still hanging on? Because if we lose that, we're going to be in a deep bunch of, and you've helped us a lot, along with some of the other officials from the parish.
Well, it's a team effort, and I really have to compliment your assessor. who's really led the charge to educate the rest of the state on the issue. But what I would say is that because we still have a deficit for the next fiscal year, anything could happen. There was a task force report issued by the Blue Ribbon panel put together by the governor recently to make recommendations about long-term budget fixes. That panel did not recommend changes to the vessel tax structure at this time. It did recommend a constitutional amendment to phase out the inventory tax over 10 years. So that bill is likely to be filed. There are two other task forces meeting that deal with subject matter of inventory tax credit and offshore vessel tax credit. They meet once a month, so we've been attending those meetings every month for the whole year. So that's 3 meetings just about the offshore vessel tax credit every month. And so what I would suggest is with 3 meetings going on every month about a single issue, it is not by any means dead. That's why we keep working really hard to make sure not only your delegation, but everybody else understands that the offshore vessel tax credit is a result of a legal settlement and cannot be just altered constitutionally the way that the inventory tax credit could.
So I think you've done a good job of keeping us informed, and it's tough. It's tough, but the problem I see with Lafourche, and like you stated earlier, if I heard right, is that there are a lot of entities out there that have a lot of power, not just the parish council. You have the school board, you have the hospitals, you have the levee districts, you have the port commission. Greater Lafourche Port Commission is the only port elected by the people in the whole state of Louisiana. These people go after money. So it's not just the council that's going after money, it's all these other entities. And like you said, if you add all that up, it's from the parish. Mm-hmm. So if you add it up, I guarantee you it's way more than a bunch of other parishes.
And while I understand that the need to invest in infrastructure and the desire to do so is the #1 priority, there's so many other decisions and relationships and factors that go into getting to a place where we can get the money that, and y'all just reviewed my contract recently, that much of the scope of my services in order to get you there is things like going to 3 meetings a month just on the offshore vessel. So, I mean, and I love doing it. So there's no complaint, but what I do is a lot more than capital outlay, although it is all symbiotic.
Right. And another thing that we have in Lafourche that not too many other parishes have, we have 3 municipalities. You have Thibodaux, Lockport, and Golomata. So if you put it all together, it comes in pretty good compared to other parishes.
Well, and as long as we continue to receive funds for projects in line, that's the case. There's going to be a lot of competition, and I do believe, and I want to make sure that I restate that what Stevie said is correct. That sending a clear signal to your legislative delegation and making sure, especially that Senator Chabert feels comfortable that everyone in the parish is on the same page about what the different priorities are, because he has the direct power to amend the bill. He can offer an amendment to the bill in the Senate to take something out or put something in. And so he's somebody that needs not just like 10 individual meetings with, I want this for my district, but some kind of authoritative statement on, yeah, there's 3 projects for Lockport. This is the one that's the priority there, and there's this one for the parish government, and there's this one for Nichols, and some kind of like authoritative statement on, as a group, here's what we'd like to see over the next several years, and here's the order we'd like to see it in.
Mr. Jones.
I want to thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, that next, I would like to ask that if you're giving a report like this, it be placed on the agenda just like everything else. This is totally too much time and is out of line with the agenda. All right?
Thank you.
And I apologize if that is my fault in any way. I don't know if it is.
Mr. LaFont.
One quick question. You said on the chart that you gave it, amount of money is the 50 N71 is Lafourche Parish?
So under column agency name, anything that says Lafourche Parish is Lafourche Parish. 50J29 are the 4 or 5 projects in the middle. like right in the middle of the chart.
Yeah, that's 50J 129. Exactly, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, Mike. Right?
Right. And so that's the portion of there were more projects than that submitted. These are the ones that made it into the bill.
That's the Lafourche Parish government. Those are the only ones from Lafourche Parish government.
That's correct.
So we're looking at 5, 6, 7, 8. 892,000 for Lafourche Parish government out of 175,246,600.
Sure, and that represents over 75% of what was submitted by the parish. So again, I can only get what's submitted in the bill.
So that's 75% of what was submitted by the parish.
That's my understanding of what was submitted last year. And I do want to update you too that the projects are submitted in November, but you can amend the applications. So if what was submitted this year needs changes, we can go through an amendment process at the division. It's very typical. It's not like we have to leave them exactly like they are for the rest of the year. But if you only apply for $1 million worth of money, I only have the possibility of getting you $1 million worth of money in the bill.
I think there must be some kind of...
All right, thank you very much. We need to move on.
Thank you all very much for having me, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Please be safe. I think y'all gonna hit some bad weather going back to Baton Rouge, so please be safe.
All right, any legal advisor reports? None. Public wishing to address the council? There are none. No J's. All right, moving on to K. Public hearing and ordinances for ratification. Get a move to open, Mr. Otam, second by Mr. Bourgeois. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Pass it 9-0. Number 10, ordinance establishing that all contracts shall go through the bid process, including professional services contracts. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion?
I got one.
Mr. Lafont.
I know there's a state law on that, so I don't know if we can even do this. Mr. Jones, did you get some information maybe?
No, I didn't get any information on it. If we can't do it, we'll let the district attorney, providing the district attorney, I'll make an amendment to see what he says about it, opinion.
I have a question though.
Go ahead, Mr. Lafont.
Make an amendment to go to the district attorney with it?
Yeah.
All right.
So you want to defer it?
Can we discuss it?
And send it to the district attorney for his opinion.
I'd like to say something.
Unless we defer it and put an amendment on the floor and ask the district attorney for opinion. All right, so I remove my motion and I'll defer it.
You move your second? Okay, so deferred till March 14th. You still wanted to comment on it?
Yeah, I guess what I wanted to say was I'm not completely in favor of this because when something goes through the public bid process, we have to take the lowest bid. And I know for a fact, say with the city of Thibodeau, or I'm hoping Mr. Cantrell does this, you say, you know, Piciola's going to get this, Duplantis Design's going to get this. And if somebody comes in $5 cheaper and they're from Peoria, if you're going through the public bid process, we may lose, we may not be able to use our local engineers. So I always want to keep our employees from Lafourche or our business in Lafourche, and I think that's what we have to lose if we do move that to public bid process. I know we have to do that with construction, but that makes me a little nervous about this.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
yes.
It was only put on because of the reason of the insurance purpose, the games that were played last year in the insurance. So that's why I put this on.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I don't think you have to accept the lowest responsible bidder. I think you have to accept the lowest, I'm sorry, not the lowest bidder, you have to accept the lowest responsible bidder. And as far as professional services, I don't think the council has anything to do with that. That's an administrative function, but I'm not the attorney, I'm not the district attorney, but I can tell you from the years that I've been here, and I've seen what has happened, and that's the answer you're gonna get.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, yeah, Mr. Lorraine, you're right. In the years that we've been here, and that's the answer we was gonna get. But we never had games in the past years that was played last year on the insurance and the employees. So that's what we need to look at. That's my objective for this.
All right, so it's deferred till March 14th. Next item, number 11, ordinance approving an act of donation between Lafourche Parish Government and Drainage District Number 1 for the donation of one John Deere 6110M cab tractor and one Tiger model BB-22-30S Stow mid-mount hydraulic rotary boom mower, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion?
Daniel, is this the one that's going to the Galliano office? This is the one for Lockport?
One going to Galliano and one to Lockport.
So this is which one?
I really don't know.
This must be the Galliano one.
I think, well, the Galliano one's first, but y'all were right behind it when you came to the meeting. I'm gonna take care of you.
All right, let's move along. We ain't,
One quick
Mr.
thing, though.
LaFont.
I don't think it matters which one it's going to because it could use in the district no matter what, though, right?
Negative, because what I'm doing is, at the last drainage district meeting, they hadn't approved the purchase of it. They wanted to make sure that that the parish has done their due diligence and purchased those culvert cleaners. So that's why I just wanted to make sure we're all clear on that page. This one's for the Galliano office, and hopefully we'll soon have one coming up for Lockport.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. LaFont.
But the two that are being purchased can only be used, one's being purchased so far. But it can be used in anywhere. It don't have to be only used in Galliano. It can be used all the way up to the end of the district of the drainage district. Right, okay, thank you.
All right, move to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item 12, ordinance providing for a 2016 supplemental appropriation 16-029 within the 2016 operations and maintenance budget for the project concrete improvement Terrio boat launch 14001, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Ms. Sposito. That's right. Let me take a step back. On item 11, I failed to ask if there was any audience comments on that. One time, two times, three times, being none? Okay, so it passed the 9-0. Moved by Ms. Sposito, second by Mr. LaFont. Any comments from the audience? Being none, any discussion from the council? One time, two times, three times. Okay, none. Council, none. Moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. All right. Number 13, ordinance requesting no dumping of trash. $500 fine signs be posted at all pump stations in the parish of Lafourche, state of Louisiana, providing for the placement of no dumping trash, $500 fine signs, and providing for penalties and violations thereof. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any comments from the audience?
I have an amendment.
Gone once, twice, three times. Any comment from the council?
Mr. Chairman, I have
Bourgeois?
an amendment from the floor.
Okay.
I'd like to amend the signs to say, no dumping of trash, waste, or debris. And I'd like the inclusion of the ordinance number at the bottom of the signs. And this is based on advice from the sheriff's office.
You wrote it?
Yes, sir. It's written and it's distributed.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion on this? Mr. LaFont.
I'd like to know if anybody figured out a cost.
My main question on this thing is,
I did ask a cost.
it's written for all pump stations. Well, you know what? All pump stations aren't accessible to the public. So if this thing is passed, we're on the hook to buy signs for what, 60-something pump stations?
81.
81? That makes no fiscal sense to me. And at the same time, I mean, why can't this thing be amended to show the problem sites that are are getting trash and debris dumped at it. Anybody can answer that?
I think they told me the cost of the signs were about 17 something, $18 a sign. So you're looking at about $1,400 if you did all of the 81 pump stations.
Right, but I don't say spending $14 to put a sign in the woods that nobody's gonna ever see. Mr. Lorraine.
It was brought to my attention from some parish employees, and I took this and they put it together. And I think a sign is a lot cheaper to buy than an old tire that a pump sucks up and breaks the pump. And we're having problems with people dumping fish heads and poodle guts and all. And that's what we're looking at. You're looking at a small minimum cost. I'd rather buy a sign at $17 than have to pull a pump out with a tire or something in it. People they don't care anymore. They'll back a truck up full of tires or junk and just throw it in there. So I didn't do this on my own. I
Which
did
pump
this
stations?
with the request of some of the workers. I talk to people. I get all kind of ideas.
Good for you,
And Mr. James
LaFont.
went to the sheriff's office. Wait, I'm not finished, Mr. Corey. You're not going to cut me out.
Let's
okay?
move right along,
We're
okay?
going to move.
Call a press conference if you
Listen,
want to give a
Let me
speech.
tell you something. I got the floor. Mr. Bourgeois went meet with the sheriff, and they came up with this. Now, y'all want to cry about $17 for a sign? Come on, boys. Maybe it's because I proposed it. That's what y'all aiming at?
Are you done?
Yeah.
Mr. LaFont.
I just want to make the statement, and I think signs are good in somewheres, but somebody is going to dump. I don't think they really care about that sign. And I don't think you need a sign to be punishable. You know, you break the law, you know, I've seen murders, we walk in with places that say no guns. We put a sign, that's not stopping that guy from walking in with no guns.
The law's in place already. I understand that. Mr. Otan.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I mean, I have no issue with having no dumping of trash at those pumps that are problematic, but I know there are a lot of private pumps that the sheriff's office won't even be able to get to because there are locked gates on private property. So my question is, if we approve this ordinance, will it still be at the discretion of the Department of Public Works on where they put those signs? Can somebody answer that?
No.
If so, I'm in favor of it. If not, then I'm not. Then I would ask for an amendment.
Will common sense prevail in how many are built or manufactured and placed?
Yes. Yes.
Not if it's stuff like this.
Mr. Bourgeois.
I just want to say that I talked to the officials at the sheriff's office, and we have caught some of these people dumping, and if we don't have the signs, we don't have the ordinance, it makes prosecuting them quite difficult, and that's what we're after. If we actually catch them, we put cameras and all of that, we want to be able to prosecute them, and that's my intent with my amendment in doing that, is being able to prosecute people that could potentially damage the pumps, which would damage the residents, their houses would flood because the pump's plugged up with, as Mr. Lorraine said, tires or different things. We've had problems at Magnolia Pump Station. We've had problems at Butch Hill. We've had problems at Lake Long. We've had problems in Pointe-au-Chien, to name a few in my district. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Listen, your light doesn't work, Ms.
My light
Posey?
stopped working. I guess the only thing I'm worried about, I thought, maybe I'm mistaken, if it has an ordinance, if it's by ordinance, can we use common sense? Can Public Works use common sense? Or if it's an ordinance says it has to be done? I thought it had to be done.
That's what I was afraid of. Mr. Groh.
Can we change the word, instead of posted at all, posted at problematic? Is that too generalized? Can we change that one
Or
word?
affected.
Can we make an amendment for that, Mr. Bourgeois?
Mr. Bourgeois, would you be willing to add that to the amendment?
Just put posted at problematic pump stations in the parish, or?
I'm fine with that.
Can you make that change so we can?
Yeah, we'll make that.
Okay.
Write
So,
it down, please.
Place,
And,
no dumping signs.
instead of all.
I'm looking where it says all, but yes.
No, I think Mike had a good point, just had problematic.
It's not on your amendment, it's actually on the ordinance as written. You'd have to amend the ordinance. You'd have to make a second amendment to your amendment.
Okay. I'd like to make a second amendment where it says all pumping stations,
Okay.
substitute the word.
Write
As
down
necessary.
the different wording on the amendment, and we'll move on that. I'm sorry, I'd rather save $14 if I can. Yes, sir.
Nicholas Guidry, Lockport Field Office, Highway 308 in Lockport. I would like to bring to your attention that even though in some of these secluded areas, the price for one diver, whether it's an animal carcass, a drum, a tire, is $1,400 a day. So the price that we're gonna pay to put it all over is pretty much the same we would pay to have a diver come out when something gets jammed in these pumps. Just something I thought you might want to consider.
Understood.
I got
Mr.
a
Melvin.
question for you, sir. Real quick, I have a question. I know that some pumps behind lock gates, but like Layton, I know there's a car only. You're not going to get a boat that I'm aware of. A lot of boat traffic on private property, but do we have a lot of pumps? Because I haven't been to them all. A lot of pumps that are accessible by boat where somebody might be, might
Yeah.
not be accessible by car, but just people in dump
Absolutely.
stuff.
You have to consider poachers and stuff like that. Not everybody's law-abiding citizens. So you do get issues like that. We have some in the Lockport area that are secluded from public places, but they can get to it by other buyers or other waterways as well. And that's one of the big things is carcasses and tires.
Okay.
That's the two
All right,
biggest
thank you,
problems.
Nick. That makes great sense. So we're going to amendment to
Mr. Chairman, I have, based on my amendment, it says, with the inclusion of the ordinance number at the bottom of the signs, be posted at, strike the word all, and then pump stations as determined problematic by the Director of Public Works in the parish of Lafourche.
Okay.
So,
You wrote it down?
yes, sir.
All right, so first we need to vote on the First Amendment, correct? On the First Amendment, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Amendment passes. Now we vote on the Second Amendment.
Posted as determined,
Yes.
as determined.
As determined problematic. As determined problematic by Director of Public Works.
Problematic by director.
You okay with that? Okay. All in favor of the Second Amendment? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Now let's vote on the on the ordinance as amended.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Before you go on, ask the public for a second if they want to speak on the Second Amendment.
Does anyone need to comment on that?
You have to ask them 3 times.
Once, twice, 3 times? No, they don't. As amended, sorry, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item 14, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-003 within the 2017 capital outlay budget to fund the removal of abandoned derelict vessels in the waterways of Lafourche Parish and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Otown, second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion from the audience? Once, twice, 3 times? Any comment? Any discussion? Mr. Otown.
Yeah, I just wanted, well, it says on here, see attached ordinance for amendments, but we don't have to make a motion on that, right? Or anything? I'm just checking, making sure. There was a couple of incorrect items on the proposed that was changed, so we're good to go with that? I'm just asking if someone can clarify that.
Motion seconded to the vote on the amendments.
So we do have to vote on the amendments.
Okay. I just wanted to point out, too, that the Lafourche Freshwater District's chairman, Mr. Ben Mulbrew, has told me that they're going to allocate $50,000 into their budget to assist with this as well. So we do have other organizations on board.
Okay, so where is, what are the amendments? Where can we find those?
Kelly might be able to tell you, it comes from her.
14. Here we go. So do we need to read it? You want to read it?
In the caption, operations and maintenance budget and, Kelly, is that an amendment? I'm clueless because it's an administrative amendments. Is that considered an amendment? Yeah, it's easy for her to come up. She knows what they are. What you said, sorry. Right here, is that considered an amendment? Why don't you just read it? Well, he needs to read, somebody needs to read it. Somebody needs to, tell us what they are.
Yeah, go ahead, please. We'll read it. Ms. Carlene will read it.
I think I can understand it. In the caption, operations and maintenance budget and is to be included. In the first whereas, Fund 299 capital outlay, Lafourche Parish, Clean Waterways, Derelict Vessels Project 17024 is to be deleted and replaced with capital outlay Fund 299. Please correct me if I'm wrong, too, as I read. I'm not sure why Mr. Armand's name is taken out. Is somebody else going to sponsor it? Okay. Okay. Somebody has to sponsor the amendment.
I'll sponsor it. Nobody
Mr. LaFont, you moving on the amendment?
On the seventh
Mr. Oldtown
whereas,
seconded.
well, I'm not done.
Okay.
On the seventh whereas, operations and maintenance budget and is to be included in the therefore be it ordained operations and maintenance budget and be it for, this is all new, so this is to be included. Be it further ordained that a certified copy of this ordinance shall be forwarded to Lafourche Parish Government Finance, Department of Public Works, Grants and Economic Development, Office of Parish Administrator, under the be it further ordained, Section 1, they're capitalizing supplemental and appropriation, deleting capital outlay, replacing it with operations and maintenance, and Fund 801 BP All Spill Fund, we are capitalizing an A for and, deleting transfers out to capital outlay budget fund 299. The next section is all brand new, Fund 104 drainage, to fund the removal of abandoned derelict vessels in the waterways of Lafourche Parish. 1, an increase in other revenues in the amount of $200,000. 2, an increase in miscellaneous in the amount of $200,000. Under Fund 299, we're removing Lafourche Parish Clean Waterways derelict vessels, Project 17024. And is that it?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Looks like it, huh?
All right, so the amendment is moved by Mr. LaFont, second by Mr. Oldtown. Any further discussion on the amendment? Okay, you turned it off. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Amendment passes 9-0.
Public one.
Any public wishing to address the amendment? Once, twice, 3 times? No. So it passes. Okay, now we vote on the ordinance as amended. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0.
I wanted to discuss it, not the amendment, the ordinance. I think it's a good ordinance, and I'd like to commend Mr. Otan for bringing this up. I know he's been trying to get this done a long time, and we don't really have that problem where in the South Lafourche area because the Port Commission takes care of ours. But all we did was take 200,000 out of the BP fund, am I right? And now I guess the next step is to go out to bid, and you'll get my support. And I want to commend you for doing that because it's a long overdue and the administration.
All right. Get a motion to close public hearing. Moved by Mr. Otan, second by Mr. Bourgeois. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Section L, Mr. Esposito, please.
Proposed ordinances. Number 15, proposed ordinance providing for a $25 increase in per diem to all members of the sewage district. Number 1 board.
Yes.
Proposed by Councilman Melvin. Number 16, proposed ordinance amending ordinance 4044 and amending and reenacting section 2-63A, meeting of the Parish Council of Chapter 2 of the Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinances for Lafourche Parish Council, changing the time of the regular meetings from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., proposed by Councilman Perilou. Number 17, proposed ordinance rescinding and repealing ordinance number 2455 adopted by the Lafourche Parish Council, State of Louisiana, the Parish Council on September 10th, 1996, entitled, an ordinance and amending an ordinance adopted by the Parish Council of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana on October 28th, 1986, entitled, an ordinance levying within Sales Tax District Number 4 of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, the district, a tax of 1% upon the sale at retail, the use, the lease, or rental, the consumption, and the distribution and storage for use of or consumption of tangible personal property, and on sales of service in the district, all as defined herein, providing for the assessment, collection, payment, and dedication of such tax, and the purpose for which the proceeds of said tax may be expended, such tax having been authorized as at an election held in said district on Saturday, September 27, 1986, and providing that the rules and regulations described in the ordinance adopted by the Parish Council of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana on July 17, 1980, as amended from time to time as relates to the rules and regulations for the enforcement and collection of the present 1/2 of 1% sales and use in tax and sales tax district number 1 of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, shall apply to the levy, collection, and enforcement of the tax herein levied so as to reduce the 1% sales and use tax levied by said ordinance to a 7/10 of 1% sales and use tax effective November 1st, 1996, and thereby increase the levy and collection throughout the boundaries of sales tax district number 4 of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, the district to 1% sales and use tax for solid waste collection and disposal purposes, and authorizing the Parish Council and Parish President to take any and all action necessary to provide that the levy and collection of 1% sales and use tax for the aforesaid purposes shall be reinstated and be in effect on. Proposed by Councilman Lorraine. Number 18, proposed ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-004 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to increase the budget to cover the MS4 permit consulting services with Morris P. Hebert Incorporated, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, proposed by Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Ms. Esposito. Moving along to resolutions. Number 19, resolution approving amendment number 1 to grant between the Louisiana Workforce Commission and Lafourche Parish Council agent grant, local grant recipient, with the fiscal agent being LAT Workforce Investment Board, Inc., for a program year beginning April 1st, 2015 and ending June 30, 2017, to receive funding from the Louisiana Workforce Commission to provide services to youth, adult, and dislocated workers in the region, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said grant and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Mr. Grove. Any discussion? Being none, move to vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 20, resolution approving amendment number 1 to grant between the Louisiana Workforce Commission, LWC, and Lafourche Parish Council, local grant recipient, with the fiscal agent being LAT Workforce Investment Board, Inc., for program year beginning July 1st, 2016 and ending June 30th, 2018 to receive funding from the Louisiana Workforce Commission to provide services to youth, adult, and dislocated workers in the region, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said grant and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Ms. Esposito. Any discussion?
I got some.
Mr. LaFont.
I just got a quick question. Is there no, I know we don't pay rent down the bottom, we don't pay rent in the middle of the parish. There's no place in, the parish don't have a building where we could do this for free anywhere in Thibodeau? Do we own
Anybody?
something? We have a, Mike? Oh, I'm looking at, I'm sorry, my bad. I'm looking at the wrong, my bad.
We're on number 20.
My bad.
All right. On number 20, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 21, resolution approving a lease agreement between Warren J. Harang Jr. Municipal Auditorium, herein called Lessor, and Lafourche Parish Government Office of Community Action, herein called Lessee, for a quarterly commodity distribution in 2017 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said lease agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Ms. Esposito. Mr. Bourgeois.
I want to speak after Mr. LaFont. I know he went.
Same question. Everybody
I think all we pay for is a dumpster and the cop. I mean, they don't charge us for the building at all, per the contract. They just we charge $300, I think it is. Let me look.
Yeah,
For
that's
the dumpster and $30 an hour or something. $30 an hour for the janitor, custodian.
I'll take mine off.
Mr. LaFont.
No, do we pay for a cop at all the other places also?
No, this is a dumpster that we pay for.
He said a police officer.
Custodian worker at the Civic Center.
Right, okay. So we pay for a custodian and just the use of the dumpster. And that's $300 a month? That's for the whole contract?
A year.
Yeah.
$300 a year?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I just want to say that you're taking money from the CDBG funding, right? To pay this. And no other place that we pay this. And this has been going on for quite a few years. We were talking about spending $17 a sign a while ago. Now we could have bought 2 dozen signs with some of this money. I just think it's uncalled for. I don't think we should pay for it because we don't pay for it anywhere else.
We need to find an alternate location.
Let the city of Thibodeau come and meet us.
I agree.
We've been getting away with that. They've been getting away with that for a long time because nobody else has been paying it, so we shouldn't pay it.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, if you feel like that, Mr. Lorraine, let's move it to that health unit. It's up to the parish president.
Mr. President, you think that's something we can discuss, moving it so I mean, any money we can save, I think it's well earned.
I agree with you, Corey.
Thank you. Mr. LaFont, Mr. Bourgeois.
Yeah, I just want to point out that it says that use of the dumpster is $350 per use, and it says $30 per hour, and it says in bold capitalized letters, for every hour any leasee operates any part of the auditorium. And I was going to suggest another facility because it kind of can add up pretty quick.
You want to defer this one so we can try to relocate it?
We can defer it.
Okay. Who seconded it? Ms. Esposito, pull it? Okay, let's defer it and try to line that up so we can save the people some money. Until 3/14? Outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Cantrell, for working with us on that. Okay, item 22, resolution requesting the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, LADOTD, to address the 2 dips in the road before each fixed span bridge on LA 24 in LaRose heading to Houma, LaRose, Louisiana, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion?
I will make an amendment. I'd like to add the dips on 3235 to that while they doing them.
Write it down.
I will. When you dip, I dip, we all dip. It's 3235, huh?
I normally just pick up the phone and call them and ask them to do something. You got the wrong number.
Yeah, it is. All right, so my amendment is to add the dips on 3235. I got it written down.
I'll second that. Okay, so.
Two dips on 3235.
Gotcha.
And Mr. Chairman, the reason I'm asking is, I've seen people hit those dips, pulling trailers, blow out tires.
Understood.
It's a hazard.
Yeah, it makes sense. So the amendment presented by Mr. Lafourche, seconded by Mr. Bourgeois. Voting on the amendment, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Amendment passes 9-0. Moving right along to the resolution as amended. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 23, resolution requesting Lafourche Parish District Attorney to render an opinion on who makes the decision on the use of the metal detector devices the parish has in the government complex in Matthews, the South Lafourche Government Complex. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. He told me today who makes the decision. I do. Mr. Lorraine?
Yes, I think we have 2 metal detectives, and I'd like to get an opinion from the DA. We have one here, and we should be concerned about all the residents in the parish. This thing that's sitting out here, you're only concerned about this council and a few people. They got all kind of officers in this building. We should have that thing in operation at the door and have somebody there manned it. And the one at South Lafourche, I don't know if you ever went there even, Mr. Chairman.
I was there last Tuesday, sir.
It's against the wall for the last 2 years, sitting against the wall. So we need to have safety for all the people. In South Lafourche, we need one at the door, the entrance, with somebody there. We need this one at the entrance, not where it's at to protect the councilman. Let's protect all the residents of this parish. South Lafourche, we have District Attorney's Office, we have Community Action, we have the TWIC, we have registered voters, we have the assessor, we have the clerk of court, we have two rooms of kids, pre-K, kids, all day long. And we got everybody goes to the library and nobody screams. So it's sitting against the wall. It's 2 years it's sitting against the wall. It never even got plugged in. But yet we're going to use this one over here for the council chambers. And the rest of the workers that are here all day long, they don't count.
And you've done what for the kids?
Exactly what
I didn't see you plug the machine in and try to get somebody to use it.
I'm trying to find out who's in charge so we can get it plugged in and manned like it's supposed to be, not collecting dust at the wall.
Okay.
This one.
Because let me explain.
And let me tell you something
Let me
else.
explain one thing to you. When I took over in January as a
this
council
card
chairman,
right here?
that was one of the first things I moved on was the securities chamber because I could. I can't
Yes.
control the other one
You-
down
you
the
see
bottom.
this card
I
right
can't
here?
control nothing in Thibodeau, but I can control this chamber.
You see this card
And
right
you
here?
got to pass through security to get in this chamber.
Well, I didn't pass through the security, and I got this card that I can go anywhere in the parish, any district court with this card. And I don't claim to be better than anybody in this parish, but that's what this card is for, okay? If you don't have it, you go through security. You can go to any judgeship, and you got this, you don't need to go through security. But it's not right what's being done, sir. I'm for all the people.
Protecting
I'm not just for the
the
council.
chamber isn't right.
It's not
Jesus
right.
Christ, you've been here for what, 33 years, and all of a sudden you care about securing Galliana? Boy, you done good.
No,
Mr. Lafourche.
I know more than you ever gonna know, sir.
All right.
I
Mr.
can tell
Lafourche,
you that. You need
that's
to be
it.
a leader, not a follower.
That's it.
Take it and shove it.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Lorraine is wrong in his statement.
I know he is.
Because that card right there can get you in the courthouse building. But if you go into the courtroom, you have to go past through the security. Because I went, last time I went to courthouse, I went and I used my badge. and I went upstairs to talk to the judge in his office. That I didn't need it. But then I went sit in the courtroom, didn't know I had to. The bailiff came in and said, Mr. Lafont, you need to go back through the metal detector if you're gonna come in the courthouse itself.
I agree.
So your badge could get you in the building, but if you're gonna go in the courthouse itself, you have to go through that thing, rules.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make an amendment to the resolution where it says, for who makes the decisions on the use of metal detector devices, and I'd like to add, and procedures for enforcement of objectives, because I believe that what good are the metal detectors if we're not going to enforce the objectives?
Did you write it down?
I wrote it down. If we're going to ask the district attorney for an opinion, then we may as well ask him about enforcing.
I ain't asking him nothing. I ain't voting for this.
Mr. Chairman, I got something.
Go ahead, Mr. Lafont.
I don't think there's a question on who makes the decision. I think the parish administrator makes a decision on what goes on with the metal detectors in his building.
For the rest of the building, including
For the rest
chamber.
of the
You're
building.
correct.
Right. I think it's up to the chairman, as the DA said in his opinion, it's up to the chairman to make it mandatory if whoever he wants coming through to come into this chamber, just like it is the courthouse.
Correct.
So I don't think we have any question. I think Mr. Jimmy is in charge of the metal detector. It's part of the building. But my next
Absolutely he is.
but my question is, where's the funding going to come from to staff a police officer all day long? That's the question we should be asking. Where's the funding going to be coming from? Because look, I'm not in favor of raising any taxes, and down the bayou, I don't think there's access into. And I was a Head Start chairman. On their committee, and Mr. Bo, you might ask, I don't think there's actually a way to get in from the library into the Head Start building. You have to come through an outside door to get into the Head Start, because the fire marshal wouldn't allow there to be a door.
All right. Now we vote on the amendment. Go ahead.
If you refuse to not walk through what kind of laws are enforced? I mean, it's not a cop.
That's coming up in another one.
Yeah, so.
In another resolution.
Okay. And my concern was like Lafont, it's going to cost a good bit to have some police enforce it. A lot more than that custodian in Thibodeau.
Correct.
I'd like to.
Not recognized, sir. We're going to vote on it as amended. All in
You
favor?
don't want the true answer?
All in favor? On the amendment.
You don't want the true answer? You scared?
I'm not scared of anything,
You
sir.
scared. You're a chicken.
Can we get a second on Mr. Bourgeois' amendment?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Lorraine. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Nay. Can we get a show of hands?
For at least the ayes, or this is the ayes or the nays?
The nays?
Nays, please raise your hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nays. Now, it failed. Now we're going to vote on the resolution as originally written. All in favor?
Aye.
Any, all opposed? Nay. Show of hands for the nays, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It fails 2-7.
I'll just
Moving
ask
right
the
along.
parish
Item number
president to
24.
get the opinion.
Resolution requesting a committee to be formed to review the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Jones. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 25, resolution requesting Lafourche Parish District Attorney to render an opinion as to what the recourse would be if someone refuses to be screened by security and go through the metal detector at the Matthews Government Complex prior to entering the council chambers. Can someone move for me? Moved by Mr. Otan, second by Mr. Lafont. All in favor?
I need a discussion. You need to call discussion, sir.
Any discussion?
I'd like
Mr.
to
Lorraine.
ask the guy that's in charge of EOC, Mr. Chapon, can you lighten this up on this card?
On your card?
Yeah, I had talked to you about some policies, and you told me that they had a policy, y'all had it written.
Yes, we're putting a policy together right now for the metal
Are
detectors.
you putting it together?
Yes. Now, you do have a policy in place at the courthouse.
Okay.
That's written by the sheriff's office.
And what does it say?
That policy gives, a judge, the district attorney's personnel, law enforcement access to the building, into the courtroom. Those cards will access you to the building.
Okay, so if they got a card, you can just go in.
Yes, you'll show that to the guard, and then you'll access the building.
And more than likely, your policy you're working on, I'm sure you're gonna,
I'm working on, in conjunction with that policy with the courthouse, correct?
okay, thank you, sir.
I got a question.
Mr. LaFont.
To the same gentleman. So you putting together a policy that allows councilmen or employees just to walk in a courthouse?
No. You have a policy, there's a policy in place at the courthouse. You have security
And
at
the
the
policy
courthouse.
says we can't go with our car, we have to go through a metal detector, correct?
You have a card that'll get you in the building if you're going to do parish work. If you're going into one of the courtrooms, you're going to go through a metal detector.
Thank you. Also, the district attorney told me that when his employees go into the courthouse, it's mandatory that they have their badge with them. And showing.
Mr. Grow.
When we voted last meeting on the CEA with the sheriff's department and funding that deputy that works at the courthouse, all that verbiage was in there about using cards and whatnot. So I assume we're going to go along the same lines as that with whatever Josh comes up.
Correct.
I'm sure we're using it as a template, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a template, I'm assuming, but at the same time, it will still be mandatory to go through the security checkpoint to get into this chamber. Let's vote on this resolution. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Show of hands of nays. Passes 7-2. Item number 26, resolution
Chairman.
requesting.
I'd like to pull item 26. I'll meet with the district attorney this week.
Yes, sir.
We'll discuss.
Number 26 is pulled, not deferred, correct? Okay. Item 27, resolution appointing one member on the Parish-wide Recreation Advisory Board representing District 4, moved by Mr. Melvin, second by Mr. Otown. Any discussion? You want to name him?
William Billy Knockham.
Can we get a second? We did? Yeah, Mr. Otown. Mr. Otown. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 28, resolution appointing one member of the Fire Protection District Number 8-A Board, moved by Ms. Sposito. You want? Yeah, go ahead and give the name. Anybody want to second it first? Mr. Grove?
Chris Cortez.
Mr. Chris Cortez, any discussion? Move to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 29, resolution appointing one member on the Fire Protection District Number 8-C Board, moved by Mrs. Sposito, second by Mr. Lafont. Ms. Sposito.
Mr. Anthony LaFaso.
Any discussion on Mr. Lavasso? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 30, resolution accepting a low quote of M&L Engine, Inc. in the amount of $20,532.44 for the parts needed to repair the pump at the Edgar Guidry Pump Station and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otan, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 31, resolution accepting a low quote of Welsh Irrigation and Equipment in the amount of $19,272.45 for the parts needed to repair the pump at the Clotilda Pump Station and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otan, second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Hey. Number 32, resolution approving the parish president's appointment of Emily D. Knight for the position of Director of Human Resources for Lafourche Parish Government and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Mr. Lafont?
I just want to say I think she's a good hire. I know the family. I actually just appointed her brother-in-law to hospital district, so I'm supporting it.
Is she here? Does anyone have questions of her or for her?
I think her resume speaks for itself.
You do? Ma'am?
Oh, no, it's
Please?
working.
Oh, that light is,
I know, it's
it never
working,
stays on.
It's not working.
Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Emily Knight, address 2318 St. Mary Street, Thibodaux, Louisiana, 70301.
Okay, Ms. Esposito.
Emily,
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate you applying. I'm also a Nichols alum, so I'm glad to see someone local and a fellow Nichols alum applying. I am concerned about your lack of experience in government. I think we have a strong HR department now that can maybe catch you up to speed pretty quickly. And I hear nothing but good things about you. So I appreciate you applying. I know it must be a scary time thinking that it's a volatile situation, but I think the majority of the people here will do what's best for the parish, and I really believe you will too. So thank you for applying.
Thank you.
All right. No other questions. We'll move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Oh, okay. So we have 8001. Why are you abstaining?
Well, because we hadn't really got a definition on interim and appointed. So it's nothing against Ms. Emily, but some you're going to appoint an interim, and others you're putting up.
This is not interim.
Approval.
This is a permanent
right,
appointment.
This is the council approval.
Yeah.
So I want to know when I speak with the DA, I want to know the difference. Because I mean,
okay.
if Ms. Emily get close to the council, she might get fired in 3 months, and the interim be appointed. So not putting that on you, but that's the way they've been doing lately. So.
All right. So the vote went 8001. Congratulations. You're the new HR director of the parish.
Thank you.
Oh, and I didn't vote because of the lipstick. I was told that she was supposed to wear red lipstick, and we were going to vote because of the lipstick or pink, so I voted because
All
I
right.
think
That's
she's-
out of control.
I'm just telling you, that's what I was
All right,
told.
number 33, resolution approving the purchase of one E85 T4 Bobcat compact excavator for road repairs throughout the parish and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. O-Town. Any discussion? What are we doing buying new equipment right now in our lowest tax year in forever?
I'd like to relinquish my time to Mr. Barnes, and he can explain it like he explained it to me.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes, this is where the parish can do small jobs in-house, that we don't have a machine that'll fit it, and we do have the funds for this already appropriated.
Okay, so you do have the funds already budgeted for your section that's going to pay for this?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion, any questions? Move to vote, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? You're abstaining?
Yeah, Mr. Sidney Duhan, owner of the dealership, is a close person.
Okay, so it passes 8001. Item 34, resolution approving the cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Lafourche Parish Drainage District Number 1 for one John Deere 6110M cab tractor and one Tiger model B22-30S Stowe mid-mount hydraulic rotary boom mower, whatever that is, for work within the Lafourche Parish Drainage District Number 1 area, authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second by Mr. O-Town. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 35, resolution supporting the request to the Houma Thibodaux Metropolitan Organization to include in their surface transportation program to upgrade vehicle and pedestrian access to the Rose boat launch and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Esposito, second by Mr. O-Town. Any discussion? There being none, move to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 36, resolution supporting the request of the Houma Thibodeau Metropolitan Organization to include in their surface transportation program pedestrian improvements, upgrades, and safety measures accessing the community center and the wetland boardwalk, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Esposito, second by Mr. O-Town. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0.
I did want to say something.
Oh, go ahead.
The only thing I wanted to add to that, Councilman LaFont and Lorraine, is that the reason why I was asked to do it is because I'm the council rep. I know that's your districts, so I'm just the council rep for South Central Planning, and that's why they called me. But if you'd have any problem with it, they can call you in the future if it's an issue.
Anytime you asking for money for us, we fine.
Item number 37, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish government and the Cutoff Youth Center to provide funding for repairs to the Cutoff Youth Center building, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. LaFont, second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? Question, Mr.
Mr. LaFont, I tried calling you today. I
Rowe.
don't know if you were busy with work. I had just a quick question on this. Is this something we do every year? I know it was budgeted. Is that something we kick in pretty much every year for them? I know you had told me one time we did some.
It's not every year, it's just last couple of years, they needed some help, and this year, the fire marshal went in, they thought they were grandfathered in, and all of a sudden shut their whole kitchen down. So for recreation and all that, they had to cook outside, and so they needed a vent hood, and a local company, one that pays the most taxes in the parish, gave them a really good deal on this thing, so they had to react quick. They went ahead and put it up and asked us for our help, and Mr. Cantrell was nice enough to help them out, so appreciate it.
Any other discussion? There being none, move to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 38, resolution stating that the following two people are authorized to sign all checks issued by the Lafourche Parish Game and Fish Commission, Barry Plaisance and Chantel Cockerham, and authorizing I saw you. And authorizing the Lucy, please, authorizing the parish, I'm gaveling myself, to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. O-Town, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? Mr. LaFont, your light's on. You move it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Lucy. Please.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nobody.
Passes 9-0. Number 39, resolution accepting the low bid of Serco LLC in the amount of $2,586,901.50 to build the coastal pump station, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer an agreement and any and all relevant documents. Proposed by Councilman O-Town.
Second.
Second by Bourgeois. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Lucy,
Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion?
I just want to make sure, I know there's a typographical error. I want to make sure that that's fine. It doesn't prevent this from moving forward. Where it says 2,586,000, it should say 86. I don't know if I need an amendment on that, if that's fine, if it's just a typo. Because it states it afterwards in parentheses.
Make it the amendment for the Y. For the Y on 8, that's what you're saying, Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Make the
Yeah.
amendment, please.
Usually you go by the written version.
Yeah, I'm looking at the
Yes.
written right now, is it?
It's the, of course, it's just the agenda.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking
Really
to the
just
written.
the agenda.
Like I said, in parentheses, it has it correctly, immediately following. It's just the wording. I just want to make sure we don't run into any eruptions. I don't want to slow the administration down.
1,286,900. Looks like it says it right here properly on the item itself.
Yes, if you refer to the bottom part of if you follow and you refer to the full item, it has it correctly.
It's just a typo in here.
Okay.
So we voted, we're good on 39? All right, moving on. I apologize for that, y'all. I didn't mean it. It slipped. Item number 40, resolution amending resolution number 16-027 that stated that all checks issued by the Lafourche Parish government shall be signed by any two of the following three individuals: elected parish president James Cantrell, account manager Renita Jackson, and director of finance Carol Hemel III, and that said individuals are authorized to sign on all accounts dealing with the transfer of funds. Moved by Mr. Grow. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item number 41, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and VITA Volunteer Income Tax Assistance United Way 4U for free tax preparations to the citizens of Lafourche Parish at the Thibodeau Government Complex, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Grow. Second by Ms. Esposito. Any comment, discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Section N, questions for the
Mr.
administration session.
I got a resolution from the floor since we're still in resolutions.
Okay.
Can you mind? I think if everybody agrees.
All right, let's take a vote to see if we'll accept the resolution from the floor.
It's time sensitive.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we'll hear it.
All right, resolution from the floor, change order to number 1 with Byron E. Talbot Contractors, Inc., roadway and drainage improvement and road sales tax 2, Phase 4K West 11th Street. Resolution approving change order number 1 from Byron E. Talbot Contractors, Inc. for the project entitled roadway and drainage improvements in the road sales tax district number 2, Phase 4K West 11th Street to increase the contract price by $196,120 and to add an additional 45 days to the contract time, authorize the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any and all relevant documents. I move.
Second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? Mr. Bourgeois?
Yeah, I just have a question. I mean, that's a pretty big change order on a $700,000 contract. I just kind of want a little more explanation as to why we're going from 693 to 889. It's just a lot of money. That's a big change order.
Well, a couple reasons. When the discussion was initially had for the project, it was told to the landowner that they were going to culvert the whole way along the highway. And then when you go look at it, where it opens up at, it's a pretty wide ditch. It's pretty close to the roadway and also to the levee system. So just to avoid any damage to the road system or the levee, I think it's much needed.
That was a question I had for you. I tried calling. I talked to Mr. Barnes, and he explained a lot to me, but I thought a 28% change order, that's like a new project, you know, I thought. And especially, I know, Jerry, you're constantly beating down these, the guys in here. We need to make sure they're not working as salespeople. They're going ahead and giving us exactly what we need so we can start these projects right. I mean, I think you would agree with that, right? I mean,
right.
So that's all I want to say.
Trust me, I looked at it, pretty tough. And, but when you go look at the project and you see how close it is to the road system, I met with Mr. Barnes on it. I talked to Mr. Terry about it, because I wasn't in favor of it at first, but then when we looked at it and saw what it was, I'm like, yeah, well, we need to do it. So I ask y'all to support it. I'm done.
Mr. Lorraine.
It would be a big difference if you actually go look at it in person instead of on paper or on film. What this is, the landowner has 1,000 feet of property there. And if we had to go back and do that project, and Jerry's been working on that about 6 years, if we had to go back and do the original project, you were looking at approximately $4 million by cutting across And by doing it this way, with the gracious of the landowner to let us do it, but you got to fix his property. And he felt that it should have went all the way. It just went exactly where his house is at, but now it's gonna go another 200-300 feet. And he can live with that, but really and truly, it should really go all the way. And it's a worthwhile project. It's a project that he's been working on. It's gonna take care of quite a few streets. And they had some problems there. We had the big ditch was a bayou. It wasn't a drainage ditch, it was a bayou. All that's being fixed. All that's being fixed, and by him letting us go through his property, Jerry, you familiar with that, Mr. Jones? He saved us $3 million, right?
All right, move it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Section N, questions for the administration, session 2.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, moving back to item 21, we deferred that till we get understanding from Mr. Cantrell about the health unit. On March 9th, we got commodities set up. You think you're gonna have a decision by then, or?
I probably could. I'll look at it.
Well, okay. It's about 150, 200 people gonna be at that location, so, all right.
We're running a chance of postponing this deal, not having the commodities being given away if we don't strike a deal with the city on this thing, on item number 21. Can he, I mean, unless he comes with a place with no charge, we're gonna have to cancel this thing.
Well, he's looking at the health unit to,
Is that enough time during Mardi Gras? Is that enough time during the holidays with Mardi Gras to be able to post where the new site's gonna be? Everybody's gonna get the word out when they've been accustomed to going to the Civic Center for how long?
no, definitely you're gonna run into some problems with time frame. Postpone it to the end of the month. It's another scenario we can use. But I don't know how long it would take the administration to look at the health unit it might take 2 months. I don't know.
What time does this happen? It's
March 9th.
No, what time of the day?
Starts in the morning at 8 o'clock.
Okay, last time we did something at the health unit, all hell broke loose, for lack of a better term. People were trying to go get shots, they were getting yelled at by people. You went.
And that's
So
exactly
did
what I'm
Mr.
saying.
Melvin. I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, where else you gonna put the commodities at in Thibodeau? $350 is what the city wanna do for the contract. Do we have another building?
To give away money to people in need, I think $350 is a small expense when we just dropped 28% on a change order for $196,000. I mean, I understand it needs it's totally different things, but
Different
come on.
monies. Don't
I
forget
know it
that.
comes from road sales tax too, but I mean,
We
I'm
pay a
saying-
lot of taxes down there, my friend.
Look, I understand it's coming from road sales tax
I don't think we get too much from
I'm
your
talking about,
district.
we need to have this program. I'm okay, I think everybody would be okay with changing it, but to spite and to potentially not have this event, I think is not doing the citizens that deserve this program any justice.
That's why we decided to defer and not pull it, correct?
But
We don't
got
have a Mardi Gras
commodities.
meeting. He has a commodity distribution on the 9th. Our next meeting's not till the 14th. So unless some miracle happens and everything is moving to the health unit, I wouldn't agree with that. Not when people are trying to get shots, and especially, Mr. Melvin, you were there, right? Last time something tried to happen at the health unit, and Jerry, you went too.
Yeah,
It
I
wasn't
also
good.
was there, but at a request to move it, where we're gonna move it. At this point in time, I would like to say, hey, let's move back and then vote on this, and maybe next year, we can have a plan in place. And for $350, it won't break, you know.
Yeah, and I
I'm
don't
not
wanna
happy.
I got a question, Mr. Chair.
Mr. LaFont.
It says $350 per use. How often a year, how many times a year do we give out commodities?
3.
3, so you're looking at 1,200 plus $30 an hour for how many hours it takes.
All depends what time the truck get there, 4 or 5 hours.
All right, I'm with you. I go back, let's do a year till we can, I'd hate to mess up one.
We don't want to interrupt the service, no, absolutely not.
I'd like to make a motion to.
We don't have a church or somebody be willing to
American Legion.
American Legion building, somebody be willing.
Well,
We got time. I think if we look for a building, well, you can always call a special meeting. It takes 5 of us to show up here between now and the next time and sign a contract.
We have to remember the logistics, that there's older people that need handicap accessibility and all that's involved with that. The Civic Center is a perfect spot. I also think we could possibly ask the mayor if the city of Thibodaux would assist in giving us a discount or something, but I definitely don't want to postpone it because a lot of people are dependent on that food.
Yeah, so if I'm in order, I'd like to defer back to item 21.
Somebody have to open.
Second?
Awesome.
Second by Mr. Gross. So we're going to go back and revisit item number 21. All in favor of going back? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Any new discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Bourgeois?
The charge of $350 for the use of the dumpsters, being that I'm in that business, that's rather excessive. That's one of the reasons I oppose it. I mean, if the city of Thibodaux is charging that, they should charge us what they're actually paying, not make a profit off of us, and that's why I oppose that.
Mr. Groh?
They're not charging us for the building. That's the only charge, that and the custodian.
But we're giving our commodity, exactly, we're giving commodities in the city of Thibodaux. I mean, the only thing I'm just saying that they're making a profit off what they're charging us for use of the dumpster, and that's the part I don't like. I mean, it's their residents as much as ours. Can't they come down on that? I mean, I'm just going with $17 no dumping signs. I mean, $350 for a dumpster. I provide them for a lot less than that for twice the size.
What would be what's the average cost for a dumpster?
Oh, the dumpsters they have at the Civic Center, I think it's $55 a dump. I mean, that's why I'm going with that. So if they have that's dumping all 5 of them, 2.5 yards, you could put a 20-yard dumpster out there for $300. And I'm saying that's a whole private, individual thing. It's just a lot of money for what they're charging for that. That's paying their whole monthly dumpster bill.
We got a year to come up with a building.
So we'll go ahead and vote on this as it is and come up with another way to, so moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Groh. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-1.
Mr. Chairman, if Michael, since you got all that stroke in the city of Thibodaux, go ask him about the ordinance, since they're really not paying much taxes towards it.
Yeah, that's why I had I actually had my light on for discussion.
Oh, go ahead.
We went to discussion, but I was gonna ask, who negotiates these contracts? Who's out there hustling? And does that come out, do they have their own funding source? That comes out of the parish coffers? Just,
That funds come out of CSBG, and the Civic Center negotiate the contract with the Community Action Agency.
Okay, so get a motion to return back. Second. Moved by Mr. Lafont, second by Mr. Bourgeois. All right, we're back to section N, questions for the administration, session 2. Being none, section O, council reports, presentations, updates, and our question, session 2. Being none, section P, discussion. Number 42, discussion regarding dispensing with the February 28, 2017 Lafourche Parish Council meeting. Can I get somebody, well, we don't have to move on that, right? Because it's not a technical vote.
But I'll second you.
Okay, thank you. The next meeting is scheduled for Mardi Gras Day. Does anybody have an issue with canceling that meeting? Anyone? Is that an item that needs to be voted on? I don't think so, huh? Symbolically, yeah, we can pull it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-0-0-1. Gotcha. And the next item, discussion concerning a 40-hour work week. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, first of all, this was done for the Barnes years ago on a cost savings measure. And it was also done for the office people a few years ago, in which we had a parish president that probably wanted off more than anybody else on Fridays. This is, as far as I know, this is a administrative decision. It's not a council decision. I think I'm not copying on Trump, but let's make Lafourche Parish great again and give them back the people their parish back. And I think it should be 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. If you look around, the sheriff's office is open, the DA's office is open, the clerk of court, the register of voters, the assessor, you name it, they're open, and the parish government is closed. I checked every parish that I could in this state. There's 63 other parishes, and all of them are open on Fridays. I think that you can get more out of a person on 8 days a week than 10, because that's just my opinion. And in the month of December, this parish was open 12 days, and it was a skeleton crew. Isn't that a shame? 12 days. I know some of the employees are not going to be happy. It's not my decision. It's really the parish president's decision. And I don't know how the councilmen feel. I just think it's up for discussion. Voice your opinion. I just think it should go back to 5 days a week, because there's some situations when some weather comes that's bad on Friday. First thing we got to do is get people to go work overtime. And if they were there working their 40 hours and 8 hours, maybe they can address the problem. But I just think it's not right that everybody else is open and we're closed. And that's just my opinion. And y'all voice your opinion. That's why I brought it up. I've been wanting to do it. I finally got the courage to do it. I know I got some workers not happy with me, but like I said, I'm not passing the buck. It's not going to be my decision, and I'd like for y'all to say whatever y'all think.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, I strongly disagree with going to 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. I do agree that I think as a parish president's jurisdiction, and he makes that call. But I think from a standpoint of business, which is where I come from, as far as efficiency and morale, working at 4 10-hour days, you get a lot more accomplished. It's less expensive on the employees because they're not having to get ready and drive to their work location as many days. And as far as efficiency, especially if you're doing work out on a site and you have contractors out there, being able to work those full 10 hours. Now, I'll agree that maybe some of those workers could be on Friday. Maybe they're off from Saturday, Sunday, and Monday or something. So, you know, I don't have any objection to having people work on a Friday occasionally. But I definitely believe from a standpoint of business and efficiency and morale, I mean, I think our employees have taken a beating in the last year. At least I know as the phone calls I've gotten, and I certainly don't want to impact morale any more than what's been done. But once again, I fully do believe that that's up to the parish president. That's just my 2 cents.
Mr. Bourgeois.
I agree with Mr. Otan. I also agree with Mr. Lorraine. I do field some things. I mean, I know Mr. Bro, you run the permit office and all of that. I do have had some calls from people that are trying to get inspections. If you know it's going to rain and you want to pour concrete, they are challenged with that. And certain things like that. You have people coming from out of town that want to get permits, and Friday's their only day. My only thing of it is that Mr. Cantrell, you run the parish however you want. I would just ask that if there was some sort of way that you could work with, like I said, namely, I know Mr. Bro does an outstanding job, but if there was something on Fridays that some contractors, with the weather-based and stuff like that, if we can come up with, you know, maybe some person available on Fridays for pours or something, that'd be my only question on that.
Mr. Melvin.
I know that having motivated employees has a lot to do with production and what you're getting out of your employees. I think this is more about days, of course, than 40 hours, because they already are working 40 hours a week. They're working 410s. I think, like Mr. Otan said, had a lot to do with morale. And, you know, the government employees, I just think you're going to get more out of them, and they're going to be a lot happier coming to work. I mean, if there has to be for a certain department some sort of a skeleton crew, you know, I don't know every last detail of how everything works, but I don't think we have to be like everybody else in Louisiana. That's what makes us unique. We have the decision to help our employees in the sense to where they're not making a killing, so why take away a little motivation they have to really enjoy their jobs? That's pretty much what I have to say. You don't have, if you say, look, we're going to give you $1 million if you jump off that bridge, you might have a couple takers, but money's not the ultimate motivator, okay? It's how you treat your employees and what you're going to get out of them for rewarding them with this day off.
Ms. Lucy?
I don't even think it needs to be discussed, because I don't think obviously it's not going to be a decision that the council makes. So the parish president is going to do what he wants. I would just hope that the data would be figured out, because we have 35-hour-a-week employees, 40-hour-a-week employees. There's going to be consequences to changing that. We have a mobilization of a public works department that if you shorten their days and if you lengthen their work week, that means shorter days, and there's a mobilization issue. But it's not going to be our decision. I do hope we don't have to do that to the legislative branch of the government if we don't have to. And I want the numbers to be hopefully worked out if possible. But again, our opinion doesn't matter.
Mr. Grove?
And it really doesn't, and just since Daniel asked, that's why I put my light on. If you do it, Mr. Cantrell, I would hope you'd survey different departments. Each department's different. I could see where some need to be there on Fridays, and if it would be offices open on 5 days a week, I would hope you'd do a flex schedule, because I'm a firm believer when people work in civil service, they give up a lot of stuff that they don't, they could get in the private sector, and one benefit could be not having childcare on that Friday, to be able to stay home, cost-saving measures on themselves, like Mr. Otan was saying about coming back and forth to work. So look at it by department versus a generalized sweep. I think if it is available, it needs to be flex days and stay with 4-day work weeks.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with Mr. Melvin. Point well taken. But I'd like to ask the administration, what's their take on this?
I have never given it much thought. I hear different views from people in the public. I hear when they want to get permits, they can't come on Fridays. I hear that everybody else is open. You hear all kinds of different ways. And I'm sure there's some kind of ways that we can work something out to accommodate the public and that accommodate all employees. I mean, after all, we have to accommodate employees, but we still have to accommodate the taxpayers in this parish. So, but I haven't given it much thought. I've been thinking about some things. I heard this was coming up. So we're going to look at it and maybe come up with something, and maybe not.
Mr. LaFont, you have something else?
Yeah, I do. First, I want to, Mr. Bro, I think y'all do inspections on Friday, because I had somebody have an inspection on Friday. So I just want to clarify that. Mr. Bro's office has been working on Friday. I think they've even been out on some Saturdays to help out some people. So thank you. I want to make the public aware you have been doing inspections on Friday. Thank you, sir. One thing that concerns me, if we go to that, and I'm like y'all, maybe departmentalized, but I think it's going to be a challenge for Mr. Barnes and his department, Public Works, because you got 4 10-hour days. By the time these guys get the equipment loaded up in the morning, take off, get to the job site, unload, there's an hour, hour and a half sometimes gone. So if you go to 8-hour days, you're not going to work, but by the time they unload, start working, it's almost lunchtime. Then they got to pack up again in the evening to go back. So I just hope if we do decide, I would think that department for sure should work the 10-hour days because they don't have to unload and load their equipment all the time. Mobilization, that's a key point. Look, I work 6-7 days a week. Not about people not working time, but I know they're 40-hour employees and we can't afford to pay overtime. But I just hope that it doesn't affect Mr. Barnes and his Barnes and their ability to get the equipment out on the job sites. That's it.
All right, I'm reserving a comment on that because it doesn't matter. Can we get a move to adjourn? Motion? Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Melvin. All in favor? Any opposed? Y'all want to stay here? Passes 9-0. Meeting adjourned at 7:32.